I bid thee welcome, friends and foes. In this video, I'll guide you step by step through an extremely easy method of painting a Grimdark Pilgrims for your Trench Crusade warband. Before priming with Citadel's Chaos Black, I covered all armor areas using Typhus Corrosion for an extra crusty and corroded armor texture. I also added a mud texture paste, just so it won't look too flat, though we aren't gonna go over our heads with the basing in this video. For the clothes, I used 3 different greens: Death Corpse Drab, Death World Forest and Death Guard Green. For the Death Corpse Drab base color, I went in with 2 coats, slightly diluted with water, though not much dilution is needed if you're using a wet palette like me. And don't bother being all too careful here. Since this is the first paint we're applying, if we accidentally hit anything else, we're gonna end up covering it all up anyways, so don't worry. Next up is Death World Forest. I applied this using a mix of overbrushing and stippling. I make sure to wipe off excess paint before applying it. And I don't paint the underside of his arms and so on, just leaving it on the top areas. And lastly, for the clothing, a finer highlight is in order, using Death Guard Green, only on the most raised areas. Time to tackle the armor, the bayonet and the gun casing using lead belcher. And again, not being all too careful, just overbrushing all of the metallic areas. For the tabard and the cloak, we're basing with Baneblade Brown, and we're gonna highlight with Screaming Skull. I went in with about 3 passes here of slightly watered down paint to get a nice coat. For the highlight, I approach it with an overbrushing all over the details. Slightly watered down paint, and I wiped off most of the excess on a paper towel. Again, I'm not being neat here, no fine highlighting. Next up, White Scar. Now you're probably wondering, what on earth am I doing here? I know that it makes no sense now, but it will soon. Except for the gun, I also applied White Scar on all of the string and ropes. I forgot to mention, I also applied White Scar on all of the pouches and bags attached to his side. And should you make any mistakes while painting any of this, the really tiny ropes and strings, don't worry, just go back with the previous color and cover it up. For the cross on his back and the other details, I made a 50-50 mix with Leadbelcher and Retributor armor for kind of a muted gold. Cadian Flesh Tone. I applied it in about 2 layers on his feet, hands and exposed neck. Contrast Dark Oath Flesh. This was applied mixed 50-50 with water to use it like a wash. Flayed One Flesh. I apply this very lightly on parts that stick out, like the fingers, the knuckles, the toes, and all of the bony parts. Contrast Snakebite Leather. Now you'll see why I painted the gun with random stripes, dots and speckles before. The yellowish brown tone of snakebite leather makes it appear as wood, when there are some black spots in between, visible through the contrast. Garagrax Sewer. This was applied on all of the pouches we pre-painted white before. Rhinox Hide. This was applied on his leather belt, just as it is, nothing else. Dirty Down's Rust. Now we're getting to the good stuff. I applied it randomly, mixed 50-50 with water. I had no planning going in with this, just put it randomly where I think it would look cool. I've said it before, but I'll say it again, that this is the best rust product that's out there. It's extremely versatile and can be used neat as it is for extremely crusty rust or mixed with water. When I was done applying it wherever I thought it would look cool, I went in with a hairdryer on medium heat for about 10 to 15 seconds. And you will see it almost drying before your eyes, leaving extremely realistic rust effects. See for yourself. And when dried, about 20 seconds later, this is how we're looking. It can become a bit overpowering when it's dry, but it's easy to knock back just using some Leadbelcher, just stippling and dry brushing. Now for the first enamel wash, we're using Villain Inc.'s Goon's Grime. And I mixed this 1-to-1 with mineral spirits. And make sure you soak up any excess that you might have, like I have in this case. but I did not apply any of it on the metallic armor, only on clothing and skin. But should you get some of the metallic armor, it's not a big deal, you can remove it later. Then to treat the metallic armor, we are using Decrepit Filth from Villain Inks. This has become my favorite enamel. A very dark brown, almost black ink. It dries matte, almost like soot. It's extremely versatile and can be used for so many purposes. I again mix this with 1:1 mineral spirits. And again, no real planning with the application. Just apply it randomly in spots and dots. And for the flesh, I made a 1:1 mix with Carrion Crimson and Caput Mortum, and equal parts mineral spirits. This makes the skin look damaged and bruised, which I think is very fitting for these pilgrims. And when all the enamels is in place, I went in with the hairdryer again for about 30 seconds. When dry, I went in with a makeup sponge. This was very lightly dipped in mineral spirits, and I removed most of it on a paper towel. And then just went in dabbing on all of the raised areas all over the miniature. It's important that the enamels is dry, and that you're not overloading your sponge with mineral spirits. Otherwise you might accidentally drain all of the crevices and leave no enamel behind. And we're lazy basing this one, so just to make it not be all too boring, I introduced some brown spots using Rhinox hide. And to prepare the base for the basing, I use some kraut tack glue, just slightly diluted with water. Just stipple it and put it in random places. No real control here. And then I just dip the base in my A Tale of Grimdark crowd cover mix. And there it is. I'll now leave you with some warband shots. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I bid thee farewell.